Did you know that skill-based matchmaking no longer exists in Black Ops Cold War, which allows you to drop gameplays like this and this? Nah, I'm only joking, guys. Hey guys, it's Teaksy here. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about skill-based matchmaking, or more importantly, matchmaking in Black Ops Cold War now that we're into year 4. So, skill-based matchmaking is always a huge talking point in the Call of Duty community now. You know, whenever a new Call of Duty releases, whether people like the game or don't like the game, you can guarantee that they'll be talking about skill-based matchmaking, and most of the time moaning that it shouldn't be in the game and that it's definitely ruined, you know, the Call of Duty experience for what it used to be. Now, skill-based matchmaking is, you know, a downside to Call of Duty, but it does get better, right? It does get better, but no matter what you say, people don't tend to always believe you. So today's video, guys, is all about just me spreading a little bit of information about Cold War in year 4, but also to, you know, be transparent, right? That's what it's always been about here on this channel, me being a transparent creator, so you guys understand what kind of content you're watching and, you know, kind of how that content is created so consistently. So, like I said, skill-based matchmaking has probably been one of the biggest downfalls of Call of Duty, but I feel like sometimes, although skill-based matchmaking is an issue, sometimes it can be used as a little bit of a scapegoat, right? A little bit of a, you know, an excuse. And I'll hold my hands up and say I've probably, you know, jumped on that bandwagon in the past and, you know, moaned about it. But naturally, you know, people have got better, right? People have got better. You know, your average Call of Duty player now is completely different to your average Call of Duty player 5, 10, 15 years ago. You know, when I first started playing COD, I was on a, you know, default Xbox, you know, playing on like the red, white and yellow AV leads. I had like a £10 headset from Asda, which you just spoke through. The sound came through the TV, you know, controller that came with the Xbox. Whereas now, you know, I've got, you know, I'm playing on PC, I've got a Scuff, I've got Astro headset, I've got monitors, and I'm sure a lot of people now are probably playing on much better setups than they once did. So I think the average player has obviously got better, and obviously there's a lot more videos out there now to help people improve, right? You know, things that maybe weren't there 10 or so years ago. So yeah, I think in general, you know, the community has got better at Call of Duty and understanding how, you know, how to play the game. I think as well there's more emphasis on being good at COD now, right? I think if you're young now and you're growing up, you can see that there are careers to be made in gaming, right? Whether that's through esports, whether that's through content creation, or maybe even going down another pathway like being a caster or something, or being in the scene. I think that there's a lot more, you know, emphasis, like I said, to be good at COD now. You can actually, you know, places you can go with it, and I think if you're young and you're good at the game, why wouldn't you want to be the best version of yourself and play the game, you know, at a high level, right? And I think, you know, there's a lot of people probably like me who, you know, we've been playing Call of Duty for a lot of years. We, you know, played through the so-called golden years. And, you know, like me, I'm now getting old, you know, I'm not as good as I used to be. I don't play maybe as much. Of course, I have run this channel, and you know, if it wasn't for this channel, I probably wouldn't really be playing Call of Duty much more. So I think that helps, and I still feel like I play at a half decent level, but I know there's an awful lot of people out there that are better than me. So I think there's a lot of things to look at around skill-based matchmaking, right? You know, I think people getting better and then having skill-based matchmaking as well does make the games pretty crazy, specifically, you know, when they first release. I think when the games release, they're always pretty crazy. But as time goes on, you know, and I know people get quite upset about it, but as time goes on, it does get better. And I've seen this here on Cold War. I've been playing the game now for 3 or 4 years. I've seen how it's changed, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. So when Cold War first released, skill-based matchmaking was, you know, cranked up, or it was just there in the game, and it was very, very competitive, right? It didn't mean, you know, you were doing bad every game. It was just that kind of manipulated experience that we've kind of got used to with Sbmm. The other thing as well, when a new game first releases, that's probably when it's most populated. That's when you've got the most players playing the game, and at the end of the day, skill-based matchmaking can only work off the data it's provided, right? And I've always said this, the more people that are playing the game, the more accurate the skill-based matchmaking is going to be in putting you into lobbies that it thinks you belong in based on your stats and previous games and all that good stuff. Now, obviously, I started making content on this channel back in 2021, and I always knew that pub stomping was going to be where I started, right? That was the content that I'd always enjoyed watching. When I was younger playing Call of Duty, I always wanted to play well. I always enjoyed pub stomping and dropping the best possible gameplays I could. So I always knew that was where I wanted to go with my content, but I knew it was going to be difficult, right? Because skill-based matchmaking, you know, no matter how honest you are about it, you know, whether you reverse boost, whether you don't, whether you're honest in your videos that maybe you played in easy lobby, because I feel like everybody who plays COD, you know, if you've been playing for a long time, you know quite quickly in a game when you're in a lobby that's, you know, below average or or you know, you just kind of know, you can pretty much know within like a few minutes, you know, what sort of game you're going to have, right? And like I said, this channel for me has always been about having fun. You know, I have a full-time job outside of it. You know, I'm not trying to go pro. You know, I'm just making content. I enjoy doing it. You know, I know that if I'm dropping 100+ kill games, yeah, there's an element of my skill in there, but there's also an element of the other team, right? And I just feel like people get really upset about skill-based matchmaking, which is why I've kind of stopped talking about it, you know, in recent times. I don't tend to talk about my lobbies as much in videos, because no matter what you say, more often than not, you can't please everybody. But it has got better, right? As I've seen through year 2, year 3, year 4, as the player counts dropped, I think as well, the more you play a game, you know, I'm, you know, much better at Cold War now than I was in the first year, right? You know, I know all the good meta weapons, I know all the classes, I know how the maps work and the spawns. So, you know, obviously you improve as the game goes on, but obviously a lot of people move away, and obviously, you know, we're into like the 4th year now of Cold War. The game is still populated to the point where you can play it, right? But it's nowhere near as populated as it was, you know, in its first year, in its prime year. You know, that's just how Call of Duty works. People move on, you know, whether it's to the next title, whether it's to completely different games, people do move on. But I think where people get a little bit confused is where I say matchmaking is better in Cold War now, and you get more varied lobbies and you tend to have better games more regularly. It doesn't mean that every game is good, right? It doesn't mean there's not good players playing. It doesn't mean there's not Tech 9 sweats on the game. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have difficult lobbies. It doesn't mean that every game you get in is going to be 100 kills, because that's just not how it works. It just means you will find better lobbies more regularly, right? But it doesn't mean every day you're going to do well. You know, every day is different. Every playlist is different. And, you know, what you see on a YouTube channel, for example, here on this channel, yes, I've dropped some, you know, crazy gameplay specifically here in year 4. Some of the lobbies have been absolutely insane. But this is like, what you see on the YouTube channel is like a tiny snippet of how much, you know, I record, right? There is a lot more videos that don't make the channel, and a lot more games where I don't do well and I don't nuke, than there is games where I pop off. But obviously, if I have a game where I pop off, that's what you're going to see on the channel. So I think overall, I feel like anybody who's, you know, been around Cold War for a while can say that the matchmaking is a lot better than it once was, right? It doesn't mean that Sbmm is not there. Of course it is. If it was in the game, it's still in the game now. But you will find that it will generally be a bit better, and obviously different times, playing at different times of the day can help. You know, there's a lot of things that go into it. But I just think overall, you know, as the game gets older and the player count drops, the matchmaking gets better. I've noticed it in Modern Warfare 3, I've seen it in Vanguard. So I think it's going to be something that we continue to see right throughout Call of Duty. I don't think skill-based matchmaking is going anywhere. And I think it's one of those things where you just kind of have to learn to live with it, right? You know, I know a lot of us don't like it, myself included, but it's not enough to put me off playing the game, right? I still enjoy COD, I still enjoy playing. Sbmm's not going to make me walk away, but I can understand why people get frustrated with it. But I think, you know, it's one of those things, I just don't think it's going anywhere. And, you know, I just think it's one of those things, it will get better, you just have to bear with it. But I think as well, you just have to admit that some days it's not going to be your day. Like, I still log into Cold War now, and sometimes I'll play 2 or 3 games and I'm like, I'm coming off, it's just not working for me. Whereas other days I can play for 5-6 hours and I have a great time, right? And that's what I mean about the lobbies being a bit more varied, but not all the time, right? So I think that's where people get confused. But hopefully this video, guys, kind of brought you up to speed. Like I say, the reason we're able to, you know, drop more consistent gameplays and pub stomping on the channel through Cold War is because the matchmaking's got better. You know, once Black Ops 6 drops, you know, pub stomping is probably not going to be something I'll be doing as regularly, because it just will be more naturally difficult to do. But hopefully this video's kind of spread a little bit of information. If you found today's video useful, guys, please do hit the like button down below, and as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. I know skill-based matchmaking normally gets some interesting comments. People don't always agree, which is fair. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so yeah, just drop them down in the comment section. If you're brand new around here and want to find your way back for more, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, guys, I hope everyone's a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.